In the 1800s, wagons were built with a couple of different configurations. One was what was called a narrow track, and that was used more in the northern states. And it has an axle width of about 64 inches. When Ford built his Model Ts in the north, and in most locations, he built them to embrace those tracks of the wagon. So instead of trying to straddle the ruts, the Model T drops right in those ruts and just keeps chugging along, part of his genius. The narrow track on the Buggy appears to pretty much match the width on the Model T. For the most part, if you're riding in a Model T, you're going to have about the same experience on the shoulder of a road that you would with if you're riding in an Amish buggy. So this is a way for us to kind of go out and do a road audit on shoulders, showing that experience that the Amish have with different road and shoulder configurations without ever, having to impose on the Amish or putting staff in jeopardy, because, the Amish buggies aren't that safe and they aren't that heavy, and I'd be real concerned about having something happen to staff. The horses are running down a strip that's about a foot wide, centered up in that 64 inches or so. What we're running into here is essentially, if you have too narrow of shoulder, you find yourself driving with one wheel just inside the white line, and cars don't get over for a vehicle. If you have a wider shoulder that's paved, but it isn't wide enough, it's still pinching on you, because you have that almost 5.5 feet, and as that buggy is moving, it's swaying back and forth a little bit. And so if you drop a tire off the side, it's really going to mess with your balance on it. It feels extremely uncomfortable, and and the horse could spook. If the horse is somewhere where the shoulder is gravel but it's too narrow, like on M91, they will, the horse is running right on the edge of the gravel, but if it hits a spot where the shoulder's in poor condition and there's blowouts and big pieces of material, the horse will stumble. And also with the vehicles running right next to it, like semis, sometimes the horses will panic. So we're trying to simulate all those just for illustrative purposes today by getting out the Model T and taking a drive through the M91 project. We've had a number of terrible crashes with both the Amish and the Old Order Mennonites in Montcalm County. The Old Order Mennonites have really suffered some terrible hits over in southeast Montcalm County. There was one crash a few years back where I believe 9 people in the buggy, 3 were killed, 3 had terrible injuries, ended up in comas. On the M91 project, we are adding an additional couple of feet of pavement width on either side, and with that additional width, we're going to put the rumble strips as mumble strips right underneath the white line. So the Amish will pretty much have a 8-foot width of pavement to accommodate their horses, buggies, and the sway that both have.